So here we have Dr. Cintron and David Lee. So a little bit about Mr. David Lee. He wrote this book, and he came to our practice thinking he had a mercury problem. Was kind of looking for some answers with his leukemia diagnosis. Doctors told him, there's really nothing we do for you, and
chemo.
good luck with
Chemo, that's what they
that
said.
was the only option.
I said, I don't want to hear about chemo.
Yep. Which we see a lot of our patients, that don't want to move that route. So when he came to us, he had a lot going on inside of his mouth, and we got all of that infection out, and here he is today, a changed man. Look at that smile. I mean, and he's going to share his story together with Dr. Cintron, and just some of the things he's noticed that have improved in his life despite, everything that was going on before. So we're really excited to hear your story and what you've noticed over time.
Yeah, and how did you find us?
Actually, I was listening to a docu-series, and they mentioned that there were these problems that were probably oral problems, health problems, and that people really didn't know the root cause of some of these things. And I got more and more and more into that, and I think it was Dr. Fazio that I contacted in Long Island, and I said, well, what about somebody in Florida? And he said, go to the IAOM, whatever it is, site, and you'll find somebody. And I came back to her, because a year ago
he knew about me.
I was looking.
Wow.
And when I came full circle and came back again, and then I think the real icebreaker, the real thing that tipped everything was she, in her website, said something about, we prayerfully look at our clients. And then the first thing we did in this very room, when I was in that chair, we prayed. And it wasn't just a mamby-pamby prayer, it was the real thing. And I think with that witness in myself, we went ahead with the full Monty. I mean, we did the whole thing, because I was thinking I wanted the amalgam fillings out. Turned out there was much, much more than that. And everything, there were 2 root canals, and everything was infected, everything was inflamed, and which I believe now might have been the reason for the chemo diagnosis that I got at the Veterans Administration, because my white blood cell was a little bit high. That's inflammation. Not compared to what some people did, but it was 44, I think. And when I went back home, in between when I first ran across Dr. Cintron, I really juiced a lot, did a lot of fasting, I do intermittent fasting, and then did coffee enemas and everything, and my white blood cell went down to almost what they would consider normal. And then as I stopped doing that, it began to creep back up again. And so I think we found out that it was really an oral problem that was causing this constant barrage of inflammation and infection.
I love that you talked about that. Like, those protocols you were doing helped it, but then as soon as you stopped, that's what the root cause is right there. Like, we want to find the source, not just cover it up with coffee enemas, juicing. All those things are great, for healing purposes, but I love that you brought that up, because it's so important to dig a little deeper, find the source of it.
The source is the key.
Right.
And one of the key things on Dr. Cintron's site was that she wanted you to watch 4, 5, 6 different videos.
A lot of education. We want the patient to be fully informed, because it would take 5 hours of education, but that's a lot of time. And then the patient has to process that information, and then it has to become real, and they have to be curious about it, because there's so many people that are sick, so we don't have 5 or 6 hours to dedicate individually to each patient. So we want the patients to come fully educated, fully informed, and then motivated to take action on the things that they need at that moment.